Good morning. Today we're in Luke. We're going to start in chapter 12, verse 1. Warnings and encouragements. This ought to be good. Meanwhile, when a crowd of many thousands had gathered so that they were trampling on one another, Jesus began to speak, first to his disciples, saying, "Be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. There's nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. I tell you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who will kill the body, and after that can do no more. But I will show you to whom you should fear. Fear him who, after the killing of the body, has the power to throw you into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. And are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? And yet not one of them is forgotten by God. Indeed, the very hairs of your head are numbered. Do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. I tell you, whoever acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man will also acknowledge before him the angels of God. But he who disowns me before men will be disowned before the angels of God. And everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven. But anyone who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven." When you are brought before synagogues, rulers, and authorities, do not worry about how you will defend yourselves or what you will say. For the Holy Spirit will teach you at that time what you should say. So let's recap this. So up here in the beginning, be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Over and over again, in his lectures to the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the lawmakers, he's over and over again coaching them that they're raising twice the children of Satan that they are. So in this time, his time, I should say, the leaders of the church are leading their people away. This yeast he brings up of the Pharisees is hypocrisy. So saying one thing, doing another. I think of being righteous on Sundays in front of the group, and then, your business world, your employment world being a completely different one. And so that's that first meaning of that message when I read it and consider it. It goes on to talk about everything we say will be repeated. And, I take that personally deeper, and I consider that every thought that I had will be exposed. Many times you'll see Jesus responding to people's thoughts, right? He'll know a conversation that was had by you and someone else as you approach him. And so I take this not to just the words that I say, but the thoughts that I think. And that's the standard that I try to hold myself to. Do my words match my thoughts? And I want them to. If you ask me a question, I intend to give you an honest answer, not to hurt, not to harm, but to give you the truth as the Holy Spirit reveals it to me. And so I take that a little bit of a deeper layer, and I find that level of truth that I intend to put out is easier to come about because it's the same reaction I would always have to the same thing. So he goes on and he talks about don't fear the one who can kill you, but fear the one who can damn your soul forever into hell, right? uh, it's pretty strong language there. He talks about the value that he has for us versus the sparrows, and he still values the sparrows. Then he gets into acknowledging him before man, and he'll acknowledge you before God. Um, I think of this portion of having practiced the fruits of the spirits, having given love to God and my neighbors, and going through it and coming up with, like what we call the toolbox, right? This is the practical application of the Bible. And someone coming to me and saying, hey, Dave, how do I solve this? What would you do in this situation? My application is through how I would deal with it spiritually. And so my answer will be, and how would I deal with it spiritually? The more we practice what Jesus teaches us, the better we get at it. I call it my toolbox because I can say, hey, I've used empathy. Here's how God taught me empathy, and here's how I apply it. And whether you're a Christian or non-Christian, empathy would work the same, right? So the Toolbox series is a way by which I can convey, how I deal with things, how I learned it, how I practiced it, what God did through me, through the practice of what he's calling me to do. My toolbox is merely a simple way to break it down more into a layman's terms, and something I can assign to a problem, right? So we've gone through the Toolbox series. I think right here he's asking us, when you find a solution that's a God solution, whether God's still standing at the door knocking for that person, or whether that person's already opened the door, that's God's will, is the person that's standing in front of you asking. And when you give him that answer, know that, any answer could be proclaimed from the rooftops, right? And be okay with that. And then lastly, I hear people say, well, I'm not a gifted speaker. I'm not this, I'm not that. Over and over again, these disciples are spoken of as the uneducated. So I haven't been to 7 years of seminary. I went through 25 years of a church, and, I learned what I learned. I went out on my own and just started following the Holy Spirit, and I got my own message and, formed the relationship I wanted with God. So that's the encouragement I give each of you today. I hope you guys read this yourself. I hope you run it through the Holy Spirit. I hope that Spirit, that advocate within you, gives you your own message. And I hope you have a blessed day. All my love.